Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. We're finally here. 7 years in the making, and no plans to continue the franchise. I'm pretty hyped, not gonna lie. Godzilla definitely started this monsterverse off on a rocky note. But both Kong Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters were grand slams for me. I'm not technically expecting anything that's going to be like this grand emotional epic. I mean, no shit, right? But for the love of God, please keep the human characters to a minimum. Or if they do have a lot of screen time, make sure they're on the level of Kong Skull Island's characters. We'll see. Anyway, Big Lizard punches Giant Monkey! Team Kong, by the way. This is my honest opinion of Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla reappears and goes on a destructive rampage against an Apex Cybernetics facility, a company specializing in advanced technology, but the seemingly unprovoked attack leaves the world baffled toward his aggressive behavior. Seeking the truth, Madison Russell, played by Millie Bobby Brown, and her friend Josh, played by Julian Dennison, go on the hunt for the one man they believe is searching for the truth, rather than condemning Godzilla outright. Bernie Hayes, played by Brian Tyree Henry, a former Apex employee turned conspiracy theorist on his podcast channel. At the same time, the head of Apex, Walter Simmons, played by Damian Bashir, has recruited disgraced scientist Nathan Lind, played by Alexander Skarsgård, to help find the entrance to the Hollow Earth, a whole ecosystem beneath the surface of the Earth where other Titans may be, and locate a great power source with the help of Kong and his caretaker Eileen Andrews, played by Rebecca Hall, and her adopted daughter Gia, played by Kaylee Hoddle, who is the last of the Iwe people from Skull Island and has a special bond with Kong.
And we believe that they have an ancient rivalry. The myths say that their ancestors fought each other in a great war.
So if they meet again, who bows to who? Is that it?
I have officially seen this movie twice now. Once at midnight when it became available on HBO Max, and again with my parents later on in the day. So I think it's a safe bet to assume that I kind of enjoyed myself. Is it good? Strictly speaking, probably not. Do I care? Not especially. So here it is. If you want a movie where Godzilla and Kong are ripping each other apart, you're gonna get that in spades. It's a ton of fun. That first fight scene between the two of them in the middle of the ocean, it was pretty unique, mostly taking place underwater, which was pretty cool. The easiest thing to say is, oh, Kong's fighting Godzilla in his home turf. But Kong ain't no pushover. He gets a few lucky punches and kicks in. Yeah, you get a bit of beat-em-up action on a ship, and that is fun, but a bit short. Still, incredible action that keeps shit interesting, from Godzilla destroying some other ships, jets taking pot shots at him, depth charges making big explosions. It's freaking great. Round 2 mostly takes place in Hong Kong, as well as the third act, and it just becomes this huge destructive bonanza, and it tickles every fiber of my lust for wanton destruction.
There doesn't.
A reason why he was provoked.
There isn't.
How do you know that?
Because creatures like people can change. And right now Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
Of course, it has to be said that this movie isn't exactly non-stop action. We take breaks to have story, characters. They any good? They're there. they exist in this movie in a fashion, I suppose. They get us from one action scene to another adequately, I guess. Things do get bloated. On the Godzilla side of things, you have him getting pissed off over whatever it is that Apex is doing. And everyone's got question marks around their heads. Understandable, but once again we have one of the more egregious annoyances, the return of Madison Russell. If you watched my King of the Monsters review, I mentioned how her popularity felt similar to that of Jennifer Lawrence's, in that her projects felt like they were reflective of that popularity by giving her characters prominence or importance in a story that really didn't need to be. Millie Bobby Brown is getting far worse. Yet again, she's billed as that character who has to get in on the action and almost quite literally drives her section of the story forward. There's absolutely no reason for this. Her role in this movie is literally to be the only one who believes Bernie is the only one who's looking for answers as to why Godzilla is acting the way he is. And she feels compelled to help him. Why?
Because if we don't, nobody else will.
If not me, who? If not now, when?
Dude's a grown-ass man who managed just fine without her thus far. And what exactly does she contribute? She finds Bernie, not because she's the one who bribed the store clerk. That was Josh. When they find Bernie, she says that they're breaking into Apex's ruined facility. Pretty sure at some point Bernie would have come to that conclusion himself. Didn't need no spunky-ass teenager to get his ass moving. She points out there's an elevator. How empowering. Ooh, but she gets them caught. And she also contributes nothing in the climax. Quite literally, I believe she's only in this movie because she's Millie Bobby Brown. Man, I try not to hate on actors that are popular. I wasn't on board the Anne Hathaway hate train because I didn't understand where it came from. Too perfect, too nice, that's all I took away from the Google searches. And the things that make Brown such a hot topic are hardly her fault, and once again, I have to remind myself she didn't write this script, is not a producer, and likely had no say whatsoever in either getting cast in this movie or how prominent her role would be. All I have to do is not care about her personal life or how certain studios choose to market their movies, and just focus on her role and only her role, and all would be well. But I can't help myself. I'm an internet drone like the other fuck faces in cyberspace with no life. I'm drowning in the not my business ocean and I'm just waiting for the inevitable end. Got way off track there. Madison's useless. Give Bernie the spotlight and this movie would have worked 100 times better.
My mission, my wheel.
Who the hell talks like that? Josh is mostly useless too, contributing only in the most meaningless and contrived ways possible, and only contributes at the end. And one could argue he's the real hero of the story. I mean, I'd argue that. I don't want to think that. I want to believe either Godzilla or Kong are the heroes of the movie. Basically, he's the resident Chucky Finster.
You don't feel that? I'm not always scared.
But I like Julian Dennison. Returning for Deadpool 3? Please? Only Bernie's character really makes sense. He's the one who breaks into the Apex facility in the beginning. As a former employee, he's the one who figures out that Apex is somehow provoking Godzilla. Chances are, with or without Madison, he probably would have gone back to the Apex facility himself, found that super hard to find elevator, and everything that happens after that probably would have happened on its own accord anyway. And anyway, Bernie's just a more likable character than the kids. God, I love Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, going viral.
As for the resident villain, Walter Simmons, he's here. I suppose it only makes sense to have a villain like this, wanting mankind to be the apex predator, so he makes that shit that would put Godzilla in the ground, but for as important and as interesting as a character like that should be, the execution is bland. He tries to be charming and charismatic, but it's just lame. Oh, and this guy exists. He's another villain. And he's the son of Ken Watanabe's character from the previous Godzilla movies. This has no impact on the story, very few characters comment on this, and he's totally forgettable. On the Kong side of things, characters fare a wee bit better, though not many jump out. Eileen is likable enough, definitely an upgrade over Emma Russell from King of the Monsters, though I think Rebecca Hall has a slight advantage being a relatively new mom. So she seems pretty natural on screen being a mom to Gia. Their chemistry is actually pretty cute.
She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise then and there to protect her.
think that in some way he did the same.
There's only two characters that really suffer from being unlikable. While I really like Skarsgård as an actor thanks to True Blood, I feel like his film credits have been either pretty underwhelming or really under the radar for the average moviegoer. Even if he is really good in these movies, or it's not his fault they're subpar. This really isn't all that different, though I guess it is refreshing to see him in a slightly goofier role than he's usually portraying. Not my favorite role that Skarsgård has done. If he wants to do comedy, I'm all on board with that. I hope he keeps getting offered roles. But I want those roles to be worthy of his talents.
Thank you. Sorry.
The other character who's really not all that interesting is the secondary villain, Maya Simmons, played by Isa Gonzalez. She's the daughter of the main villain. They share no screen time together, and all she does is walk around being a bitch. Great.
He's not coming for us.
Him? Then dump him. Dump the monkey.
How about we throw you off instead, huh?
Aside from all that, I do like the Hollow Earth stuff with new kaijus, some great visuals out of it, gorgeous scenery. I also really enjoy how shamelessly sci-fi this is.
Feel free to be impressed.
Other than that, not much more to say. It is a fun movie, though certainly not my favorite in the MonsterVerse franchise. Mostly for how bloated the plot feels. Some of the characters fare a little bit better than previous installments, though certainly not by much. But let's freaking face it, when Big Monkey punches Giant Lizard, I'm a happy Peruvian boy when that happens. What can I tell ya? I'm easy. My honest rating for Godzilla vs. Kong, a 4 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Please wear a mask if you go out. Get vaccinated for family, friends, and community. Hope to see you soon.